So thank you very much again for your diligence, for taking the time, for your energy. I know that's flagging now after 3 days, and hopefully you've got a lot out of the last 3 days. Certainly on the TEEB side, we have. It's been an experiment, as I said this morning, in terms of trying to understand how we can, quote-unquote, teach the application of TEEBAgriFood framework, okay? Because we're also kind of learning by doing on our side as well. But I think there is a bigger goal which can be achieved when we go through this process, which our funders have asked us to do, which is to go through this process of bringing people together, understand, share lessons learned, and then talk about applications, and hopefully, as they stream in, learn more and more, put them on the website, create more momentum and impetus. So from my side at least, I would like to hand over to Alexander to give some closing remarks. Pavan unfortunately had to leave for the airport, so he won't join us, but sends his regards. Alexander.
Thank you for staying so very long in this room and doing such a hard work on a complex subject. It was really interesting to see whenever one of the moderators says the working groups are here, A, B, C, D, that immediately you spread out, you started to work, and then someone from the TEEB secretariat said, stop working because we have to come back to plenary. This was really very, very impressive, and this was for me, as an indicator, a very clear indicator that all of you are really interested in this work. So thanks a lot. And I would like also to congratulate you because you have survived this marathon. The TEEB Secretariat has put together a very heavy agenda, a very heavy one, because they wanted to put everything into 3 days, and in the end, somehow the participants have really managed to do what you have put on the agenda, and you have survived. Thanks a lot. What I would like to do now is to provide 3 very, very brief comments. The first comment is, I did a random survey here. Very well selected participants, not representative of all, and I've asked, what are your takeaway, what is your main takeaway message? And the 5 people I spoke to know that I have spoke to them, but I will not disclose it. So the first answer was, I am impressed of the complexity of the modeling we have to do. Can we really do it? Question mark. The second person said, you know, if we don't take a systems approach and if we focus only on very few elements, we might provide the wrong answers. So look at the system. The third person said, it's all about collaboration in the end of different stakeholders and different scientific communities. Person number 4 said, I think we have discussed enough, let's just start doing it. And then we will learn the lessons. And the 5th person said, I'm really interested in how can I become part of the TEEB community so that I can influence what's going on and I can participate and actively participate. These are 5 different perspectives, but they all, for me, had one underlying main message. The end of the symposium does not mean this is the end of the work, just the opposite. It is the beginning of the work. Because what has happened here is you have translated a scientific framework, a scientific report, into action to be taken on the ground. And this was, by the way, one of the items we have discussed with the permanent representatives in the governing body of UNEP. They have asked, what can we as countries, what are the benefits for us as a country from this TEEB work? And Salman provided a very nice answer. He said, you are telling us what your problems are, and we will tell you how the application of our framework can help you to solve your problems. So countries, representatives of the countries, are aware of the framework, but they are much more interested in what does this mean for our country. And by the way, I'm talking to the group representing Brazil and China. The representative from China says, what are the next steps we as China can do? And Salman explained that there already have been contacts to the statistical office and that they're interested and that TEEB can really contribute to transform Chinese agriculture into a more sustainable one. So the work you have started here making it real, making it applicable on the ground, will be uptaken by the countries. And I think this is the biggest achievement of this symposium, that you have demonstrated it can be done. Of course there are open questions, of course there are problems, of course there are things we have to work more on it, but it can be done. And this is the joint message from the governing body and from a symposium. And I have to say, I'm working now since, don't know how, 19 years with the United Nations. This does not happen so very often, that a practical exercise has been linked to a meeting of the governing bodies, and the governing bodies have requested us to provide more information on how countries can really use it. I think we should keep this as one of the achievements of this group. So, closing remarks can be the last torture of an audience when they are too long, and therefore I'm going to stop now. But before stopping, I would like to say 3 times thank you. First, to the interpreters who have interpreted translated to French and Spanish. Second, to the team who has prepared this meeting. You might really be surprised. It was not Salman Hussein alone who has prepared everything. I'm not so sure if he have even contributed in a positive way to it, but there's a real team who has worked very hard to bring you all here to ensure that you can fly back, and I would really like to have a big round of applause for the people who have made this possible. And the third thank you is kind of a wishful thinking. In the beginning, I have mentioned that the European Commission, the Global Alliance for the Future of Food, several philanthropic foundations have contributed to make this work possible. And it would be great by the next symposium if I would be able to start thanking the Global Alliance, the European Commission and all the others for having continued to support this work stream, so that we can really learn the lessons from the country studies, from the country applications, and that we can bring TEEB to the next level. So, Lauren, thank you for what the Global Alliance is going to do in the next year in supporting this work stream. We are ready to receive your support. The absorbing capacity here, you have seen it, and we will be happily absorb it. Thanks a lot to all of you. I don't know if there's a drink available outside. I think it's not, unfortunately, but otherwise this is something I would like to see at the next meeting, at least having a glass of beer to celebrate that everything is over. Thank you so much and have a good way home.